SANDHAN All Gujarat Integrated Classroom.
સેટેલાઇટના માધ્યમથી જોડતી કડી એટલે સંધાન.
Okay. Thank you very much for having an opportunity to talk on the topic specifically which will be helping a student a lot. Now, as far as today's topic is concerned, it is a comprehension based on news item. I think so that that language development plays a very important role, and there are numbers of resources and numbers of ways to improve upon the language. And of course, comprehension plays a very important role. We have seen that that in entrance examination and other way around also, comprehension helps to develop the language. It gives you the power of sentence structure to develop vocabulary building, semantics and syntax of language, and it of course it gives you the predominance over the language. Now in sixth semester we are having this topic of comprehension based on news item. Now first of all, let me talk about that that why this topic has incorporated. This topic has incorporated for the simple reason that the student should form the habit of news reading. Through news reading, we know about the society, we get the general knowledge, and above all, the language development takes place. Presently, we have seen that that with the coming of electronic media, the students are giving less emphasis to print media. So, incorporation of this topic will, of course, it will give you the power of language development, news reading. And news reading, through news reading, there are myriad advantages, and first and foremost advantage is of course about the content and form. If I talk about the content, then of course general knowledge about the society, what is happening, you can able to know about those things as such. And second is that that language development plays an important role. We read novels, poems, we are having anthologies, and we are having essay writings and all sort of stuff as such. But when I talk about comprehensions, and comprehension specifically based on news items, it of course when the student develop this type of habit, it of course gives the student the power of language. Now first and foremost thing, that news reading, it should be a habit. This thing should not be just confined to examination. What the student do is that that they read from some news item from guides and the other stuff as such. But when it comes to of course habit formation, then of course I think so that that a student has to think beyond syllabus. And when it comes to news reading, then in news reading is for life. Now there are few important points what the student has to take into consideration, few hints. And this hints will definitely going to help the student to have the power of language. The first and foremost thing I want to speak on hints of comprehension reading and comprehension writing. When I first of all I talk about the comprehension, then comprehension is, the meaning of comprehension is understanding of the language. Comprehend, imbibe, inculcate or absorb the language. Comprehend. So this comprehension student has to get that that not only from the question answer point of view, but a very important thing is that that knowing the semantics and syntax of language, that is an important part of it. And there are few rules, there are few norms what the student have to understand. And if the student understand these norms, then definitely student will be having the power of language. The communication plays a very important thing, and comprehension reading of course gives the student a power of language. Now the few points I'm going to talk about, these points are very essential for the language development. Now number one, read the passage very carefully and try to understand the general flow. Now reading the passage, imbibing, absorbing the language, that is very important thing. Once the student have absorbed the language, the paragraph, then of course when the student have to deal with the question answer sessions, it will definitely give them the power of language. As I told you that that in various entrance examination, if the student have to go for abroad, They have to appear for IELTS and TOEFL examination, International English Language Testing System, and TOEFL test of English as a foreign language. Now, the gist is that, that if a student is able to understand the language, the best part is that, he will be able to write the answers. When the student will be able to write the answers, when he is able to understand the vocabulary of the language, the sentence structure of the language. So my first point is that, that read the paragraph carefully. And when I'm talking carefully, it means that, that concentration plays a very important role. Our mind is like the bird, and it is having the wings. And many a times what happens that, we are reading the paragraph. But what happens that, that we are blank after reading the paragraph. So, focusing and concentration, these are the buzzword. These are the important words what the student have to. And the student have to have an interest in the passage. That is very important thing. Many a time what happened that, the paragraphs or the passages what the student is reading, he is not interested in, and he is not able to have the flow. So, to have the flow in a language is a very important thing. And without the flow, what will happen? The student will not be able to grasp, or he will not be able to inculcate the language. So first point is that the student has to read the passage carefully, and he has to get the flow. Second point is that, that read the question and try to know what is exactly required. Now, we are not reading the comprehension for the heck of reading. We are reading the comprehension for answering the question. That is very important thing. In colleges, we are having the lucid language, the simple paragraph. But when the student have to appear for entrance examination, then, the vocabulary, the syntax, the semantics of language becomes tough. So it is very important thing that, that the student has to read the paragraph from the question point of view. Both the things are to be incorporated. And then only then the student will be able to justify his paragraphs, his answers. That is very important thing. And this comes from practice. This practice plays a very important role to master the comprehensions. Now my third point is that once again read the passage in the light of the question. There are two types of reading. One is cursory reading. Cursory reading means that, that having the superfluous knowledge or shallow knowledge of the paragraph, and then read the question and then go for the paragraphs. This will definitely give the student of power of language. That is the important thing. So first of all is just flipping the paragraphs, and after flipping the paragraph, the student has to see that, that what is required in the questions, and the student has to go second time seeing in context of the question, and this is the way that it will help the student as such. Now third point is that, that take the question one by one and mark out their answers in the passage. Now I've seen one thing, when I am assessing the paper, the student are taking the things verbatim from the paragraphs. Now this thing should not transpire. This thing should not happen. The student should write the answer in their own language. That is very important thing. The student have read the things, and according to the question, the student is writing verbatim from the comprehension passage. Now what happens that, that the examiner does not have the good impression about it. The answer may be right, but what I say that, that the student should write the answer in their own language, and then definitely, he is going to create an impression. Now my fourth point is that answer the question in your own words briefly, to the point, and of course grammatically correct. When the student will be having the answers grammatically correct, when they will be having the knowledge of language, and when specifically, he is not able to understand the structure of language, grammatically correct, the things are not going to transpire. That is very important thing about it. So, exhaustive and comprehensive reading is very important thing to answer the questions in your own language. I am repeating again that reading exhaustively and comprehensively, that is very important thing. It is not only that reading something from the guides, few or 5 or 6 passages the student have read and it is enough of enough. That is not the case as such. But when I talk about the comprehension from the news item, then the student has to develop daily reading. daily practicing will definitely give a lot of emphasis of the language. That is important thing. And when the student will be able to write the answer in his own language, when he is well read, a thorough reading to answer the question in your own language plays a very important role. And the student have to write the answer in his own language for the simple reason that that the same answer written from the paragraph will not create an impression in the mind of examiner. That is very important thing. Now, my last point is that do not rely much on the order of the question. When the student are answering the question, what happens that he is going chronologically. First question, second question, third. No, that thing should not happen. The thing is that the student can go according to his own way, not chronologically, but he can go according to his own way, and it is possible that the answer of the first question may be in the middle or the end of the passages. Now, it does not happen that the things are chronologically, that in first paragraph you will be having the first question, the answer of first question. In the second paragraph you will be having the answer of second question. It does not happen always. Many a time it happens that that first question, the answer of first question is in the second paragraph or last paragraph, or the answer of last question is in the first paragraph. So, reading critically is very important thing. Unfortunately, in colleges, we have seen that the paragraphs are not challenging, so the student does not have the power language as such. But specifically in entrance examination like GRE, GMAT, TOEFL and IELTS, you will be finding number of challenging comprehension where the critical thinking of the student takes place. That is very important thing. And the student have to think out of the box. That is very important thing. It should not be a linear, but the student has to think according to the question, and this will definitely give them the proper understanding. Now, this I've talked about a few tips or few points which will definitely facilitate and it will consolidate the understanding of the language. That is very important thing. When I'm talking about that, that these points are going to give them the power of how to prepare the comprehension reading. That is very important thing. And when I talk about the comprehension reading, I request to the teachers also that it is not only about the reading from the guides or from the books, but it is about reading from the news content, and news content regularly will give them the proper understanding of the language. Now, I'm going to take today two passages I'm going to take. First passage is short, and we are going to take specifically the passage, and second we are going to take the answer. We are going to take the answers to the questions. First of all, I am going to take the question and how to answer those questions we are going to take. And when I am talking about that, I mean that that the answer should be in your own language. Many of the things I am repeating again so that the things should get percolated in the mind. It should go into the mind. That is very important thing, because when we are listening to certain thing, implementation and practice also gives a power of language understanding. Now, I will be taking one of the passages, and this passage, of course, it is topical, and it will give the understanding of the language. And this item has been taken from the Times of India, and this passage will, of course, give the student of understanding the language. Now, I will talk about one of the paragraphs, Preeti Sen Gupta Shah. Now, she is a Gujarati poetess, and I'm going to read, and then we are going to discuss about it. Now, Mrs. Preeti Sen Gupta Shah, a Gujarati poetess, has successfully completed an expedition to North Pole recently. Expedition means a traveling with an adventure, and she likes to travel a lot. Now, expedition, traveling for the sports purpose. આરોહણ જેને આપણે ગુજરાતીમાં કહીએ છીએ. Okay, so she had one of the expeditions, and as far as this expedition is concerned, she has completed, and she had been to North Pole recently. And of course, when I talk about the North Pole, then then we will finding that it is chilling. We are having minus 40 or 50 degree temperature there. Now, she was the only woman in the 5-member team. In 5-member team, 4 were gents and 1 was woman. Now the 4 men were from Germany, China, Israel and Switzerland. 4 countries. It's an adventurous tour. And as far as this tour is concerned, you should have a brave heart, you should have a practice, you should have the sportsman willingness. That is very important thing. And she is also the first Gujarati woman to visit North Pole. First Gujarati woman. Now, Gujarati people are adventurous, but when it comes to sports, when it comes to expedition, then probably we are on the receiving end as such. But here is an exception. And she was the first woman who had visited to the North Pole. Earlier, she visited South Pole in 1989. Okay. So, she had of course, the experience, the past. Now, she had gone to North Pole. But in her past, she had been to South Pole in 1989. Okay. Now, Mrs. Shah has also written several books on travel and has received the Gujarati Sahitya Academy Award. Now, it is not only that she is having a penchant or liking. She is not having the flair only for expedition. But main thing is that, that many a time the activities what we are doing, these activities should be written in books for posterity. આવતી જે પેઢી છે, posterity means આવતી પેઢી. એ આવતી પેઢી માટે પણ whatever our experiences are concerned, this experience we have to put in black and white. And Mrs. Shah has put that thing in black and white. So, the coming generation may be having of course, they may be having the motivation about it as such. They will be having the inspiration about it. And of course, whatever her experiences were concerned, her experiences she has put in black and white. Now, whatever I think so that the student are reading, they should not only read from the question answer point of view, but they should have the analytical thinking. And of course, this analytical thinking will give them beyond and it will give them between and beyond the power of language learning, language understanding as such. And of course, she has got Gujarati Sahitya Academy Award. Day before yesterday also, 6 Gujarati people have been selected for various awards as such. So Mrs. Shah was also one of the past recipient of Gujarati Sahitya Academy Award. Now, recounting her experiences, Mrs. Shah says, recount એટલે to go in past as far as memory is concerned. Yaad karvu, recount. Recount means to remember. When she is recounting her past, then what she says the excitement was high. When you go to South Pole or North Pole, or when you go even hill station like Mount Abu, then also, when you are having -5 degree or 0 degree temperature, then of course, it is a nerve chilling experience. And as far as this nerve chilling experience is concerned, she has said that excitement was high. She enjoyed by leaps and bounds. Leaps and bounds એટલે વધારે પ્રમાણમાં. Okay? So, her experience was nostalgic. There are few words I am repeating, I am giving the meaning of them also. Nostalgic એટલે એવું પાસ્ટમાં કોઈ વસ્તુ થઈ હોય કે જે આપણા માટે ફિલિંગના પોઈન્ટ ઓફ વ્યૂથી જે રિમેમ્બરન્સ બની જાય છે, જે યાદશક્તિ બની જાય છે. So, here, she was having that nostalgic feeling. And I collected some fossils that are 500 million years old. My goodness. 500 million years old. Fossils એટલે કોઈ પ્રાણીઓના કોઈ વ્યક્તિઓના અવશેષો રહી જાય. Fossils એટલે અવશેષ. Okay. So, as far as her past is concerned, whatever the fossils she has collected, જે અવશેષ એને જે ભેગા કર્યા, જે આમાંથી અમુક વસ્તુઓ એનું પોતાનું એક નાનું ઘરમાં મ્યુઝિયમ બનાવ્યું છે. અને she has kept the fossils. And whenever she sees those fossils, she goes into her past and she is remembering those. She becomes nostalgic and she is remembering the old days. So this was about a small paragraph, comprehension writing. Small paragraph about it. And as far as this paragraph is concerned, this passage is concerned, this passage gives us the lifestyle of Mrs. Preeti Sen Gupta, her expedition habits, because North Pole and South Pole, and she has got the award, she is talking about that, and she is talking about her excitement and feeling, and of course, she is talking about that, that she has collected some fossils, which were, of course, more than 500 million ago. Now, we have understood this thing as such. And now what we are going to do is we are going to write some answers. We are going to discuss some answers. The students are going to write on their self. But as far as discussion is concerned, we are going to discuss few answers out of the questions. That is very important thing. Now, one thing I have to say to my students and even to my fellow teachers, that that when the student are going for the comprehension, they should incorporate reading and writing comprehension. When I talk about reading and writing and listening comprehension, speaking comprehension, it means that that whatever the things the student have read in the paragraph, these passages the student should speak. When I'm talking about speaking, it means that after reading these passages, the student should keep this passage aside and they should try to speak. That is very important thing. And when the student are discussing the question, when they are writing the question, they should first of all speak those answers without seeing from the paragraph, so that they will be having the power of speaking language. When I talk about communication, all the 4 skills are incorporated: reading, writing, listening and speaking. But unfortunately, we are just confined to only writing. So it is my humble request to my peer teachers or to my students that whatever the passage they have read, try to speak out the passage without seeing. And of course, when they are writing the answers, speak out the answers without seeing from the comprehension passage, so that that they will be of course developing the conversational skills. Developing the conversational skills is a very important part of it. Okay, no doubt the marks of speakings are not given, but this practice will give them the communication development. Tomorrow they will be going for the job market or employment market, and tomorrow it will definitely, the student, this speaking skills or conversational skills will definitely help the student tremendously. There is no question about it. Now, second part, we are going to the questions and trying to create the answers on our own without seeing the passage again. Now, first question is, what is the extraordinary achievement of Mrs. Preeti Shah? Extraordinary achievement of Mrs. Now, I request to the student, forget about the passage, reading the passage again. Now, already read. Now try to give the answers on our own. Mrs. Preeti Shah's achievement is, first of all, she has gone to South Pole. And now she has gone to North Pole. Okay. She has already visited the North Pole before. Earlier she visited South Pole. Means she had been to South Pole before. Now she has gone for the... So this is her major achievement. Participating in the expedition is the extraordinary achievement, and from it she had been to North Pole before, she had been to South Pole before. Presently she has gone to North Pole. So if I had to give an answer, participating in the expedition, that is her neck, K-N-A-C-K, neck એટલે interest ને આપણે neck કહીએ છીએ. And she had been to North and South Pole. These are the achievements what she is having. I consider Preeti Shah to be out and out sports person. Okay. Now second question. Point out the nationality of all the 5 members of the team. Okay. 5 members of the team. Child, Germany. Okay. Which are the Germany, Child, Israel, Switzerland and Gujarat. Okay. These are the, for common nouns and proper nouns, we have to again to go to the paragraphs. But when we have to give the answers, okay. But if common noun and proper nouns are not there, then we don't have to go to the passages again. Okay. So these are the 5 country people. These were the members of the people who had been to expedition with Preeti Shah. China, Israel, Switzerland and Germany. These are the 4 countries, and 5th country was, of course, Gujarat. Okay, so these were the 5. Now, what is the other outstanding achievement of Mrs. Shah? Outstanding achievement of Mrs. Shah. As I told that, that she want to write down the whatever the things happened in the past. she put in black and white. To put in black and white એટલે લખવું. કોઈ પણ વસ્તુ લખવી અને આપણે black and white કહીએ છીએ. And she wrote about her past. She has written various novels, biography, autobiography, what I call it as such, and she has received the Sahitya Academy Award. Now, these are the outstanding achievements of Mrs. Shah. Writing the books, writing the novels, putting her experiences. These are the outstanding achievement what she has made. Now, next question is, what is Mrs. Shah's contribution in the field of literature? In the field of literature, she has got Sahitya Academy Award in literature. This is one of the things that, that the Gujarati people are proud of. Because in literature, we will be finding far and far between the professors or the outstanding people, we will be finding that they have got the Sahitya Academy Awards. So here is a person who has got this award, and definitely we should be proud of it. And last question is, what did she bring with her besides her experience? Anubhav, experience siwai. Besides her experience, what she had brought? She had brought the fossils which were more than 500 million years back. 500 million years back. 1 million ma 10 lakh hoy છે. 10 lakhs in 1 million. So there are 500 million years, more than 500 million years of fossils. Fossils એટલે હું ફરીથી રિપીટ કરું છું કે પ્રાણીઓ કે વ્યક્તિઓના અવશેષોને આપણે fossils કહીએ છીએ. So these are her experiences. And the last question આમાં આપ્યું નથી, પણ I think that in every comprehension this question should be that write down the title or the topic from the passage. And the topic we can write is Mrs. Shah's expedition experience. Okay? This is one of the topics, the student or the teachers can be having many of the topics in the mind as such. But this is one of the title which I think that which is appropriate to this. So, here is a small paragraph related to life of Preeti Shah. Okay? And we have discussed about the passage and we have discussed about the question answers. Now, the incumbent, jawabdari, responsibility of the student is reading various passages from various books, from libraries, from guides, from newspaper, and they have to develop their analytical thinking about the language. And this is a reading comprehension. What we are not having in our syllabus, listening comprehension. This listening comprehension also gives the student and the teachers the understanding, the power, the pronunciation, the intonation, the rhythm of the language, which is very much required for communication. It is a very important thing that, when a student has to communicate, he has to listen. Through listening, a comprehension definitely plays an important role. And there is one word, what we call it as a shadowing. Shadowing means speaking loudly. And whatever you have read, you try to speak the things on your own. That we call it as a shadowing. It is a new phenomenon in language teaching. And definitely the students are going to improve the language on language through shadowing. Reading, keeping the book aside, and whatever the thing they have read, try to speak it out. And of course, we are having various news channels. In my time, there was only one news channel and the news were only for 15 minutes in DD1. But presently, there are more than 6 channels. And these channels definitely give the student the listening comprehension practice. Listening comprehension practice. In listening comprehension practice, the pronunciation the student improve will help them hammer and tongs. Hammer and tongs એટલે વધારે પ્રમાણમાં. That is very important thing. And this is the thing that, that the teacher should inspire or motivate the student to listen to the news item at home. This news item is a comprehension, reading and writing comprehension. But I am talking of listening comprehension, which are more important than these two topics. Which the student have to take their own responsibility, and they have to develop their own listening skills, which will give them the communicative power. Tomorrow, these students are going for the jobs. And if they are not able to communicate, then even though they may be having the degrees, but they will not be able to fulfill the expectation of the employers. So very important thing is that the student should have their slots. The student should have the language power. As a language teacher, I think so that that listening from these channels will definitely give them the power of language. And there are many international news channels which are having the transcript with the news. They are speaking the news and they are having the transcript downside. And one of the news channel is VOA, Voice of America, and Newsy channel. These are the two channels, Newsy and Voice of America. These are the application the student can download. And these they can find from the YouTube also. VOA, Voice of America, and Newsy. And the student can have the subtitles of whatever the teacher is speaking, whatever the newsreader is speaking. So this is the way that the student can develop the language. Now this is a small paragraph I have taken. Now the second passage I will be going to take, and we are going to wind up about this thing as such. Now second passage is it is about of course in politics what we are having presently, it is about the railway ministry. And railway ministry, this passage is 2 years back when Mamta Banerjee was railway minister. This passage is of that time. So first of all, it is the title, Railway Ministry Sticks by People Over Profit Policy, and it is February 25, 2013. This paragraph, last year, sorry, not 2 years back, but last year. And the place is New Delhi. Now it is about the budget, okay? And as far as in a bracket, in the parenthesis, we are seeing that the Times of India News Services, and this is a news agency, Times of India News Services. Now, I will go a little bit fast because there is a compulsion of time. Otherwise, I would have discussed a lot about the techniques and various aspects of comprehension. Now, I'm going to read the paragraphs, and of course, in between, I will be going to explain this paragraph, and finally, we are going to take the answers of the questions as such. Now, populism prevailed over economics as the railway minister present to parliament a budget driven more by political consideration than the financial constraint of the railways, which are already in red. Very important paragraph. Populism prevailed over economics. As far as the railway ministry is concerned, it is about making the business, doing the business. But instead of business, she thought that the benefits and convenience, comforts, rates, fares which are provided to the people, this thing should be given the consideration instead of rent increasing, fares increasing, freight increases. Freight એટલે આવા જવાનું સામાનનું ભાડું હોય એને આપણે freight કહીએ છીએ. So she thought over that populism prevailed. Populism એટલે અમુક વસ્તુઓ જે લોકોનું ધ્યાન ખેંચવા માટે અથવા જે popularity gain કરવા માટે હોય એને આપણે populism કહીએ છીએ. So what happened that populism prevailed over economics. Economics ની વાત બાજુમાં, નફાની વાત બાજુમાં, પણ પહેલા લોકપ્રિયતા. That is very important thing. Populism is a very important aspect as such. When she presented the budget and political consideration, then finally consideration. Political consideration. હવે specifically when politics, when they are doing, when they are the ministers, they will think that that in the coming election they can get as many votes as possible. એટલા માટે political consideration. એ ધ્યાનમાં રાખ્યું. And second thing is financial constraint. Means as far as the economics or as far as the profit and as far as the business is concerned, that was given the secondary consideration. But popularity was given the more important કે મારી પાર્ટીનું નામ થાય. She belongs to West Bengal. Okay? So there should be, as far as my party is concerned, there should be some popularity about it as such. Now second paragraph, by choosing to spare the passengers of all classes from a fare hike, increases freight changes marginally, introduces new train and taking up 10 unviable projects, she has only followed the Britain track taken by the previous government, whom she criticized out throwing the railways off the track. Now, a very important paragraph, that formerly, when the other ministers were there, she was always criticizing that business and profits and all sort of things should be there as such. And now she has taken a U-turn. U-turn means she was criticizing the other minister, and whatever she was criticizing, she has done presently. She herself has done presently. And what she has done, we'll go to the paragraph again. By choosing to spare the passengers of all class from fare hike, increasing freight charges marginally, introducing new 19 train. Bhadu vadharo. When you increase the fares or you increase the freight, you become unpopular. This minister has increased a lot of fares, so you absolutely become unpopular. She has not done that. As far as the fares are concerned, she has made the fare the same as it was last year. But the important thing is, she has introduced new train. And a new train means that, that wherever the trains are going to that region, she will be having her own popularity. And not talking politically, but the ministers are seeing that, that in their constituency, the most of the voters should get the benefit, so that in the coming election they can have the more popularity about it as such. So as far as the second passage is concerned, the second passage is about popularity, increasing the trains, not increasing the fares. And when she has increased the freight she has increased very marginally. And of course, she was criticizing the former minister, but now she is herself doing what the other ministers were doing. Now, third paragraph is new trains, increasing in frequency and extensions of old train, new lines, gauge, conversions, doubling and electrifications of tracks, metro project. She has given them all on popular demand. There was demand from the people. We want this, and specifically in her constituency, she has taken care of it as such. So important thing is that, that whatever the popular demands are concerned, she gave it to. Okay, these are the things what the people are wanting, that the fare should not be increased. Okay, fine. I will not increase the fares. I will not increase the freight. I will not do this. You require more train. You require more frequencies. You require more speed. All these things I'm going to give it as such. And many a time we are giving on the cost of national exchequer. નેશનલ એક્સચેકરનું મિનિંગ એ છે કે જેમાં નેશનલ જે ઇકોનોમી છે એના ઉપર ભાર પડતો હોય છે, જે દેશની આર્થિક પરિસ્થિતિ હોય એના ઉપર એની અસર પડતી હોય છે. સો she has involved in that thing. Commercial viability is not her main consideration. She has lived up to her Didi image. Okay, જેમ આપણે we call it as Amma, the Tamil Nadu chief minister. Okay, so we call it Didi as Didi, Mamata Banerjee, we call it as Didi, who is the chief minister of West Bengal. So what she has not taken into consideration, commercial viability. Commercial viability એટલે આર્થિક ફાયદો. She has not taken that thing into consideration. But what she has taken, her main consideration was the populist theory. Prakhyat. How I can become popular. This may be one of the things as such. Okay. And as far as her Didi image is concerned, Didi means taking care of people. Didi, sister. And when we call Didi, it means that, we expect something from the Didi. And Didi has bestowed, Appu. She has given the people what they were demanding. Now she has declared free travel to and fro girls student up to class 12 and 75% concession for widows of Operation Vijay. Okay? We call it as that, giving soaps. SOPS. Not SOAPS, SOPS. સોપ એટલે કે વ્યક્તિઓને કંઈક વસ્તુ ગિફ્ટમાં આપવી. ફ્રીબીઝ એટલે આ વસ્તુ, ચલો મેં આપી આ વસ્તુ, એને આપણે ફ્રીબીઝ કહીએ છીએ. So, what she gave as a sops or what she gave as a freebies, she said that, that she has declared free travel. The students the girls who were up to 12th class, they don't have to pay the fare for it, and 75% concession to the widows of Operation Vijay. The army people personnels who have died in Operation Vijay, એમના વાઇફ જે લોકો મરી ગયા છે, જે આર્મીના વ્યક્તિઓ જે મરી ગયા, એમના વાઇફને 75% 75% of concession has been given to them. Now she has proposed raising revenue by using railway property for publicity and other commercial use. And what the proposal she has made, that that revenue has to be increased. And this revenue, of course, it has to be taken into consideration that that she has not increased the fare. So where the money is going to come from? So the money is going to come from publicity and the other commercial use. The opposition is going to ask that where they are going to get the money from. So the money, she said that as far as the money for the railway projects or for the other various things they are going to get the money, she is going to get the money from commercial use and publicity. MPs from Kerala and UP were dissatisfied, but she offered them to come to her and she would satisfy them. There were numbers of members of parliament who were totally dissatisfied, and specifically Kerala and UP people were totally dissatisfied. And she said that if you are dissatisfied, then you are definitely going to come to me. Now Gujarat this time has received a better deal, as she has considered some of the long pending demand of the people. Gujarati people had some demands, and she has done some favor to the Gujarati people, and including a train for Haridwar. No wonder Gujarat CM welcomed the budget. Narendra Modi, Gujarat Chief Minister, welcomed the budget for the simple reason that that the Gujarati people were expecting that we should have a train up to Haridwar, and that she gave us as a favor. Now, very important thing is the budget evoked a positive response from the people, a pleasant surprise to many who had expected the usual increase in the fare. The people were happy, they were joyous, they were excited. And why they were excited? Because in every budget we are seeing there is an increase of fare. But as far as this budget is concerned, we have seen that there is not increase of the fare. This is the first and foremost thing what the people are wanting. The people are wanting that there should not be increase in fare. And this is the thing what the people have got. So they were excited and they welcomed this budget by leaps and bounds. And it was a pleasant surprise. Pleasant surprise means that in every budget the fares are increasing, but in this budget the fares have not been increased. So they were happy about it. So this is our passage. Mamta Didi, populist, not thinking about commercial viability and increasing the trains. Now we are going to see the question answers. Only 3 minutes have been left. We don't have the time. Okay. What is the meaning of people over profit policy? People over profit policy. What does it mean? It means that that people are given the prominence. They are given the importance. They are taken into consideration. They are favored. And profit policies have not been taken into consideration. And when we talk about the profit, then she thinks that profit will come from the other commercial and advertisement projects. So people over profit means the people are given more importance than profit. Then second question, what concession was declared for the widows of Operation Vijay? The widows of Operation Vijay, they were getting 75% concession in the travelling. 75% concession. And this is the benefit what was given to the widows of Operation Vijay. Which train was granted to Gujarat by the railway minister? Which train was granted? The train of Haridwar was granted. It was a long pending demand of Gujarati people. And of course, our chief minister was also expecting that there should be train for Haridwar. And when I talk about Haridwar means religious place. And this is the thing that, what the people of Gujarat were expecting. And it was a long pending demand. And of course, this train was granted by Didi, by Mamata Banerjee. Which states were not satisfied by the railway budget? 2 states were not satisfied by the railway budget. One is Kerala and second is UP. They were dissatisfied. Okay? And What Mamta Didi told them? They told that if you have any problem, then definitely you are going to come to us. And as far as your demands are concerned, your demands are going to take care. Now last question, bring out the words, phrases from the passage which means increase. Whenever there is an increase in traveling, we call it as a hike, H-I-K-E, hike. And second word is to be in loss. To be in loss means in the red. In the first paragraph, we are having this word. Okay? I'll go again. That populism prevailed over economics as the railway minister present to a parliament a budget driven more by political consideration than the final constraint of the railways, which are already in red. Already in red means they already are having the things in loss. Okay? In a loss. They are having already in loss. And second, I told as an increase as such. Increase means hike. H-I-K-E, hike. Okay? So now this is, and a last question about it is not written here, but definitely as I told in my first comprehension passage, that give the title to the passage. Okay? As far as my thinking is concerned, populist railway budget. This is the appropriate title. But as far as the title is concerned, there are numerous titles we can talk about. But I think so the student should be given a critical thinking for thinking over their own title. Every student should have its own title. And this, if the title is appropriate, then we can say that the comprehension, they are able to understand the comprehension as such. Thanking you giving me for this opportunity, and I am looking forward to for this type of AGIC sections in future also. And of course, I did my best as far as this comprehension topic is concerned. I hope that that you might have got some tips and some understanding about the things as such. Looking forward to meet in future as such. Thank you very much.
SANDHAN, All Gujarat Integrated Classroom.
સેટેલાઇટના માધ્યમથી જોડતી કડી એટલે સંધાન.